I hate that we have to start the show this way today, but this is what it is. So no pristine shots, no great camera angles, just me talking about Jonathan Owens and having to defend him for something he doesn't or shouldn't need defending for. He was telling the story of the way he met his wife, Simone Biles, on our show, and she was also there. And they told this story with so much love in their eyes. And every time they looked at one another, you can tell how beautiful it was to them. But everyone is now twisted and taken that and made it something negative. What people haven't done is watch the entire show. Watch him say that she wasn't scared and that once they finally went on a date, it was history from there. Or listen to him talk about their 2020 conversation while she was at the Olympics as he encouraged her that she could be okay. And when she wasn't, the time he took away with her, even getting married during that time. And now Simone Biles is back to the Simone Biles we know. He talked about the way Simone Biles has changed his life, how much she has helped him, how much their love and their journey and their story is all tied together. So what has happened is people sitting in their homes, whether married or unmarried, are now worried about this man and his relationship. Instead of being happy for two people who are excited to be together, two people who support one another wholeheartedly, we've now decided to pick apart one clip instead of learning the whole story. So the moral of the story is this. If Simone Biles is happy, why aren't you? If Jonathan Owens is happy, why do you care how they start or what jokes they make? This is a couple that has found their own way, and they found their way to one another in a very unique fashion. And just because you feel like he should be worshiping the gymnast Simone Biles doesn't mean that you can't respect that he's in love with the woman, Simone Biles. Man, that's their relationship. And if they could smile, you should stop frowning. Welcome to the Friday Pivot. Last week, there was hoes in this house. This week, I'm on that big Nick energy, you feel me? Yeah. Yeah.
I like it.
Freddie T got on the Christmas colors too.
That's right.
And look at you. Just HBCU.
I don't know, man. Y'all be always hitting me with this damn seasonal colors. I don't think grown men worry about seasonal colors. We're grown up.
It don't take much thinking though, Chan. It's Christmas.
I know, but everybody don't celebrate Christmas, Fred.
That is true.
That is true.
Happy
That's very
holidays.
true. But you celebrate Christmas.
I do. I just like to argue.
You just got some kayaks and some other shit.
Just like to argue.
Well,
Hold up, limitless. Take a stomach, got pin in it. I fought the head to witness it. Get my people feeling militant. Way I'm finna get me up. On the mission, get me up. Knowing me, I got the key. On this vision, I can trust. Trust. Limitless. Take a stomach, got pin in it. I fought the head to witness it. Get my people feeling militant. Way I'm finna get me up. On the mission, get me up. Knowing me, I got the key.
welcome to the Pivot. This is Friday, so you know what Fridays are, man. It's about the boys just chopping it up. I'm RC. This is Chan. That's Freddie T. It was an interesting week. Here I am, minding my own X or Twitter business, whatever you call it, and my former teammate, Rashard Mendenhall, goes on a rant about white people speaking on black players and white people who have never played sports, and he wants to be talked about by black players who've played sports, when there are actually a lot of white people that have played sports. Maybe if it was a statement about people who have never played commenting on people who do, then that's a thing. I do want to say, just because he is one of my former teammates and we share a lot of friends and people who are in both of our lives, Rashard is dealing with some stuff, you know? And so like many of us who have played this game, or just random people who are walking around who've never been hit in the head, you sometimes go through some things. And when you're going through some of those traumas and dealing with some of those things, and now you have these public outlets, sometimes what you're going through privately leaks out into the public. And I think this is part of it. So initially, I didn't even want to get into it. And then Will Compton makes his team, because Will's a comedian and Will is fun, and Will capitalize on any viral opportunity or moment that he could get. And so he did. Now, I personally was extremely hesitant. Here's why. I'm already tweeted or messaged or DM'd by many people that just say, oh, you're racist because I stand up for black people, right? So I felt like if I came out and I said something, now I was going to be taken differently. So when Will tweets that to me and tags me, I was like, nah, man, let's just keep it the same way. Like, I'm glad I got to play with you. That's part of the game.
Pause.
Woo, woo, woo. I'm glad I got to play on the same team with you. Sorry, Fred. And that, because of that, let's keep the game the way it is. It's fine. I'm done. And what Rashard said was divisive, and we shouldn't enter it like that. But now everybody's having fun with it.
Yeah.
So I don't have to be this serious and worry about my image or my reputation or what people are going to say. Do you think if we split them up, the all-black team versus the all-white team, who you putting your money on? Because I ain't gonna lie now, Fred. Will put his team together. First off, Will's coaching staff is crazy, by the way. And he put his team
He
together.
can't have Mike McDaniels.
No, he's black.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So Mike McDaniels, that's a void. Will, that's a void. And what he call it? The halfways or whatever he call it?
Yeah, he said halfway get the pick.
They get the pick.
That touched me.
That was funny.
It was funny, but I'm a white and a black man.
So what side would you go on?
The side society put him on.
I always say it like this. If I rob a bank tomorrow, are they gonna say when the police come,
Suspect.
this big suspect with dreads and tattoos was white and robbed the bank? They're not gonna say that. They're gonna say this big ass black dude came here with dreads and tattoos and stole all that damn money. I gotta be on the black side.
Breaker 19. Breaker 19.
Yeah.
Suspect, light-skinned black male with dreads.
Has anybody ever watched this show and said, yeah, RC and Freddie on there with that big white boy?
Alicia sometimes forgets that you're black.
They're not gonna say it, and I always joke, I say, respect me like a white man, because we all know it's different, but we're having fun with this, so we have fun with it. I love Mike Allstott.
Let's go current.
I love Christian McCaffrey.
They might have the best back in the game, Chan.
I love, the offensive line. Like there are, and you say, it is funny because I always say, my thing about it is that, think about the best coaches ever. We'll go back to Vince Lombardi. Was he good at football?
Nope.
Nick Saban.
Bill Belichick.
Bill Belichick. They were garbage as football players. You can be good at coaching. You can know football and know the game without playing. So that's taking the race out of it. So I always hate, we actually talked about this before, I hate the narrative that you can't speak about sports if you've never played the sport at a high level. Man, these motherfuckers can know the game and not play. If you break down the athleticism of white people versus black people, come on, man. The African-American team is going to be the most athletic and be the better team.
When you look at Will's list, his team from coaches to players from A to Z, he has an amazing fucking list. And not to say this team is going to be more dominant or stronger or defeat this team or the other side,
it's
right?
going to defeat
but
them.
He has a great list. For me, it's the margin. The error for margin is so thin. Like, if you look at the NFL, 1,600 players, right? What is it, like 80-something% of it is black or whatever. That doesn't mean the black guys are going to go and just dominate or win. But we have some amazing players, black and white. I think Mendenhall, even though that was the craziest fucking tweet you can tweet, it's crazy conversation. Like, to magnify it and make you think, like, whoa. Like, we got Aaron Donald. We got TJ and... Well, we can't say
got the Bosa
J.J.
brothers.
Watt, but T.J. Watt. It's a lot. You got the Bosas. You know what I'm saying? You got Christian McCaffrey. You got Thielen. You got Cooper Kupp. You know, so you have a lot of guys.
Fred, let's
and you
go
talk about the
receivers.
quarterback position.
So Thielen and Cooper Kupp compared to Jet, Tyreek.
I mean, come on.
Devontae Adams. Fred,
I'm going to say this.
We're going to have the conversation let's have it now.
And so I truly did not want to have the conversation. Like, I didn't, because I don't feel like it goes well for me if I have it.
We're just critiquing Will's list.
Okay.
Let's start there. That's what I went on. I didn't compare the other side or the side that he didn't highlight, because we got some dogs. I say we because obviously
We got some dogs.
we do have some dogs, but I think it's a crazy cookout conversation to have. You know what I'm saying? Like, for homeboys, it's just blatant racism, maybe from Mendenhall's fingers to the world.
That part was, but now it's moved
but now
into
it's like, for people who know,
it's moved
guys
into
who shared the locker room, you know, you, Will, me, and, you know, whomever else that I'm super tight with now, I think it's good for cookout and locker room, just to kind of fuck around and have fun with it. But when you really weigh it out, like both sides equally got some. They got all pros. We got all pros. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's a good thing to have fun. You ask me who will win, I can't even give you a good answer because some days you might have the guys that go out there and party and want to fuck around like Channing on South Beach.
Okay.
We ain't ready. We're going to have a game full of mental errors, guys fatigued, all that stuff.
Fred, white people party too, Fred.
I didn't
White
say they
boys
didn't.
don't party. I had a ball with white boys in the club.
I didn't say they did not.
I'm gonna say this, Freddie T. You are doing the thing you always do, which is you're just a nice human, and you want to be liked. Period. Point blank. Period. Point. You do. That's why. Like when people run up to us, they universally like you more than they like me and Channing. Now Channing is liked more than I am as well because Channing's funnier, right? But nobody ever has a bad thing to say about you. Us two, we've had some shaky interactions.
But they're not bad in bad, though. They're bad in question.
So I'm going to say this right now. Without a doubt, the most talented team is the black team. Now, the reason that it's even a conversation is because only 11 people play at once, right? Because when we're talking about depth, they don't have it. Now, obviously, quarterbacks, you got it. We went Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, right? So on the other side, you're going to have Patrick Mahomes, right? You can have Lamar Jackson, right? And so that they got two, we got two. And if we want to go past that, we can go all the way to the bottom to the rookies. We could get C.J. Stroud. You could have Dak Prescott. So there's a large amount of depth.
I'm taking two of them.
Right. We can't take
I
two.
claim the Polynesian.
I
claim the Polynesian.
All right, so there's a large amount of depth there, right? Large amount of depth at quarterback. So you go running back, they got the best in the world right now. They got Christian McCaffrey. After that, he had Lance Burkhead. We good. We are good.
Yeah.
Now, take it to receivers. 3 years ago, Cooper Kupp, one of the best in the world. This Cooper Kupp would now be their best wide receiver. Ain't no shot. Because guess what? There's going to be like Braxton Berrios, and he's going to have to be in the slot on like Stephon Gilmore.
Right.
Because he's going to be like down the list of our good players. Oh, by the way, they don't even have enough corners to fill an entire room.
Right.
Harrison Smith could play. Now, they're going to have a great safety. Everybody else, barbecue chicken.
They need Jason.
Right?
They need Jason Sehorn.
And things have changed. Like, we play offensive line now. Like, we've become the Laramie Tunsil's of the world. We might just have to switch a guard to, like, center, and we don't really have to do that. We could just go grab the ones we got. Here is where they get us. Mother effing special teams. We ain't got no kicker. We're going to have to get Justin Reed from the Kansas City Chiefs or the running back from the Houston Texans to be our kicker. Guess what else we ain't got? A mother freaking long snapper. We ain't got no long snapper.
Damn.
So we're going to have to convert somebody to long snap. Or, matter of fact, what the hell we going to do? We're just going to go for two all the time, and we ain't punting no way.
I like the sound of
right? And we do have Presley Harvin, so we got a punter. The big boy for Pittsburgh.
That joker.
What I'm saying is this. When we look at it superficially, the other side has a good starting team. After that, they tail in trouble.
So ain't no 60 minutes.
Now I'm going to tell you what they got now. They got a gang of tight ends. Yeah. They basically all went to Iowa, but you got T.J. Hockenson, you got George Kittle, you got Travis Kelce, you got Mark Andrews, you got LaPorta from Detroit. They going to come out and play 14 personnel. They just go keep all their tight ends on the field.
But that doesn't suffice to say David Njoku, the boy Likely from Baltimore.
Waller? Are we speaking of Darren Waller?
So I mean, it's
we're fine. No, Fred, you beat around the bush. I'm putting all my.
You always provide an additional piece of perspective.
I'm Wesley Snipes.
I couldn't see it.
Hey, I'm Wesley Snipes. What Wesley Snipes said in Passenger 57, always bet on black. Right? So now the coaching staff thing is crazy. So we got Mike T, right? Our defensive staff is phenomenal. Yeah. Mike T, D'Amico Ryans, Steve Wilkes, Brian Flores. Like, we got coach after coach after coach after coach. Offensively, though, who we got? Offensive coordinators.
Mike McDaniel.
We got Eric Bieniemy. Right?
Bieniemy?
We got to take Mike McDaniel.
He's ours.
We got what we got is we got all the wide receiver coaches, running back coaches, Gerard Johnson, the quarterback coach down in Houston. So, though I think they field a good team at the top, I do think Christian McCaffrey is a different rusher when he ain't got Trent Williams. And guess who team he on?
Mm-hmm.
Come on over here, Trent. Let's go. Let's go.
Hey,
That would be the thing, the combination of what creates those players. And that's why the conversation, like I said, I'm glad we're doing it funny.
yeah, it's fun.
I'm glad it's just fun because you can say about the white successful players and what the black guys do for them. Also on the other side,
Yeah.
the Bengals receivers, who I love, who I think could start.
Joe Burrow ain't helping them?
T,
Jamar. Stephon ain't start going off when he got Josh?
You see? Stephon went over there and went going crazy. So on both sides, what those players, white, black, or otherwise, what they create for the other people, and what Tyreek did for Tua, what Tyreek did for Patrick. Now you see Patrick struggling a little bit with all them drops and all that. So on both sides, you got to be honest about it, but come on, man.
Fun.
And we got Trent Brown, too.
Listen, when we do DraftKings and all, the black team is minus 28 if they play. The black team are 30-point favorites
Hey,
if they play the white
this college
team.
football, it
turns into college football if they play. If they play that game.
The ability to create explosives is on our side. For sure.
And that was McDaniels just talking about the, one-play series?
Yeah.
This is a one-play
Jalen
drive. Mm-hmm. And he's aggressive.
Yeah,
So,
think about that.
I like our play call.
Here's the thing. But Jalen Waddle probably doesn't make our team.
That's ugly.
You're right.
You know, like he doesn't make our team, bro.
That's ugly. You was talking about DraftKings, Chan. Just the other day, when Ja came back, they had a two-team parlay. It was Ja. What's the big boy's name down in New Orleans? Zion. It was like plus 200. That's 2-1. Plus 200 for Ja and Zion to score at least, 13 points, 12 points each in the second half of that matchup. It was a DraftKings play. Did I take the bet? Did I take the bet?
No, I wouldn't take it.
Did I take the bet?
Did you? Yes?
No.
Well, I say,
Because I had a liability. The Pelicans were up 20 points. Ja Morant was back. Now, I liked it. I loved it for Ja, but Zion kind of scared me off of it. He had 5 at the half. He finished with 13. Ja had 7 at the half, finished with 34 and the game winner, down 20. That motherfucker, he is back.
What do you think about him being back, though?
I'm happy to see him out there. I'm thankful that he was able to put that stuff behind him. It seems that he's a bit more mature and he understands business and moving forward. Just being back really just to help his team. It helps the NBA, his fan base, everybody cheering him back. And then to have a return like that, you couldn't ask for a better return.
Have you ever been to Disneyland with a heavyset person? They're going to slow down late in the day. Zion Williamson is not finishing games. I've been saying this. He does not keep himself in good enough shape to finish those games and be the player he's supposed to be. It upsets me to see the talent that Zion is giving up right now. It really gets to me knowing that people that work hard and stay in shape and really grind, that could maximize the God-given ability of Zion Williamson. The Ja thing, I knew he was going to go crazy. We've had him on the show. He goes. He loves the game. He's very talented. And to your point, he got in all that BS, the gun brandishing and all that stuff. 25 games, I think, was sufficient suspension, and he's going to go off. And I say it now, Ja is going to be, if he played those 25, there's going to be conversations. RC, you're going to talk about it on TV. Should he be in the MVP race? Because Ja Morant's about to go wild the second half of this season.
I think the thing I love the most about what has seemed to happen to Ja Morant is he seemed to mature. Yep. He seems like he understands. He's taking accountability. Not only taking accountability for his actions, but taking accountability for how his actions have affected the people he cares about. Not only his family, not only the NBA, but his team. He said he's the reason his team is now in the hole that they are in because of his actions. And I think that level of maturity, that level of leadership is only going to make him better. The other thing that is refreshing is people aren't holding it against him. It was a victimless act. Because I'm not going to call it a crime because it wasn't a crime. It was a victimless act. It was what Ja Morant did was immature. What Ja Morant did was make a bad decision, and he deserved to be punished for it as it pertains to the shield of the NBA. And he's now taking that punishment because I told you you couldn't do a certain thing, and you still did, right? And so now they had to make an example out of him. But he needed that example. I think Ja Morant needed that example in other parts of his life. And what I loved about him is he's walking off, Ja Morant said, oh, I kept receipts too, right? Because when you go away, there's people that talk about you as a man, right? There's people that talk about the person you are. And what happens when they talk about the person you are? They talk about the people closest to you. So this man who has a father that supports him through everything, and we talk about this, may not have done everything right, may not be doing everything right. Now they're talking about him, how his behavior has affected who Ja Morant is. You got to hear that, and you love your people. You know, and I love the interaction he posted with him and his mom, right? And his mom just said, this is who you are. I love and support you, and it's time. And then you go out, and Desmond Bain, you asking, should we get Jada Rock in the post? He got a smaller guy. And his answer, F no, you getting the ball. Right. Because they even know how important he is. But I love that he got people around him that saying, nah, like, you're not back to be something different. You're back because of who you are, and we want you to be that. Take this mother effing ball. Mm-hmm. And I think for him to deliver, bro, is poetic justice. Like it truly is. To be playing your childhood friend or your high school friend, to be down and have to come back and to get that moment and deliver, it shows me that dude's going to be the face of the NBA, not so much as maybe the one they put out, but the one Allen Iverson became.
We met T, and we know how laid back and chill T is. Didn't have the opportunity to meet his mom, but just for context, the text you just spoke about, she said, it's return, play your game, let the game come to you tonight. Don't force nothing. You'll come out with the W. She didn't leave it on him. It wasn't a sign of being selfish. It was play your game, you're gonna win. And he said, I love you. She said, you ready? He said, I'm your son, you know the answer. She said, period. And after the game, she was like, yes, sir, never doubted you. Tell him I'm coming, is what he finished with. You gotta love that relationship, man.
Yeah.
You can imagine your mom backing you like that and understanding what's at stake. Because some moms just go to the game. Because this is my son, I go and support. But she knows the game, like she knows the vibe. You know what I'm saying? To be able to get her to kind of push you a little bit further, it's attack mode all night.
Everybody has that. Just knowing y'all the way I do. Knowing your grandmother who just passed, we was at the wake, meeting your uncles and everybody, how they pushed you. RC, your parents.
Big Mike.
Still there.
That people that still had you. Like those people being there means something. So I would just say for people right now to have young athletes coming up, and I only made a mistake at a higher level. But I made a mistake. I got locked up in college, and my mom was right there. She was right there. I was talking to her at Alachua County Jail. A collect call from Alachua County Jail, and she was accepting those. We all made missteps. I know you. We all made missteps. Yeah. That support system is not overlooked, even if it doesn't seem as if at that moment it means something. Those young athletes need that. And to T. Morant, we know him, we met the Morant people. Bro, that's big time to have that, because now, to your point, Ja's about to be the face of the franchise, face of the league. And you can look at Allen Iverson as crazy. You can look at him as wild, whatever you want to say. But, bro, he was basketball. And I think Ja Morant's headed in that direction.
You know, it looks like Ja's headed that direction, and people didn't bail on it, right? Like, he did lose some endorsements, but he got a new shoe that's about to drop, the white and black joint. You know what I mean? Like, Nike's still with him. And that says a lot about what people think about your fabric, you know, because when you make these decisions or these things happen so publicly, that's when people have the opportunity to say, I rock with you or I don't. You know what I mean? Like, we always talk about it. Like, once you're in the public eye and your friend or somebody attached to you or attached to something you do does something, that now reflects on you. And you have the opportunity to say, yeah, bro, I stand with you. Or you get to back away in the shadows and be like, nah, that's sunshine on you. That ain't for me. And so I think watching the way his team obviously his family, like we never doubted that Ja's family would be there, but also somebody like Nike's even saying, no, we still believe that the trajectory you're on is not gonna be so affected by this that we're bailing on you, right? And when they still stand in front of you, like all the rest of that junk comes back. And I think it goes to, again, not dismissing or making someone not have to take responsibility for their actions, but it's like there's just different type of bad decisions. Mm-hmm. And in his bad decision, it affected him. In his bad decision, the suspension affected more than him. And I think that's what made him go, okay, something has to change, something has to be different, and I expect him to be different going forward.
Hey, RC, speaking of supporting family, the Dallas Mavericks and their owner, Mark Cuban, I think he did an amazing gesture for DFS.
Dorian Finney-Smith.
DFS, Dorian Finney-Smith, talking to the parole board in Virginia to get his dad out. What do you think about that?
You got to really go into the entire story. So Albert Smith, who is Dorian's father, was convicted of second-degree murder for 44 years. And what happened was him and his homeboy were going to collect a debt. However it happened, so they both had a gun, right? They get into a tussle, and the guy goes to grab his homeboy's gun. So Albert pulls a knife to get him to drop the gun. Well, in the tussle, his homeboy shoots the guy 3 times. So he shoots him, and then when they're up for their trial, they offer them both the deal. Like, you can take a deal which will give you manslaughter for 5 years. Mm-hmm. He had court-appointed attorney, and that guy told him, fight it, don't take the deal. Because he doesn't take the deal, he gets 44 years. The man that actually pulled the trigger only got 5, right? And so that brings us back to why there's a need for prison reform.
Right.
Why Meek Mill is crying when he is signing a bill to give him, or to give people who have been to jail like him, or give people who have violated parole like him, different opportunities to be released from jail, because the prison system and the way that it was set up to railroad. It was set up to make money off of brown and black people. And in Virginia, there is a no parole rule, right? There's a law that's passed that doesn't allow you to get parole, or that makes parole extremely difficult. What happened to Albert Smith was, because he went to jail so long ago, before 1995, he was eligible. Jerry Kilgore, who became his lawyer, worked on the campaign for the guy that won office based off of eliminating parole. Wow. He's now working for a private firm, and that's who they went to. And this all started because the Dallas Mavericks chief of staff started working with Dorian Finney-Smith. And so when you look at the entire thing, I think, one, what the Dallas Mavericks did in committing to help his father get out of jail is more than commendable. Yeah. You know, when you look at the Michael Rubins of the world, when you look at the Mark Cubans of the world, and starting to understand and relate to these players and be around them enough to understand the disparity in which the way that brown and black people are treated as compared to white people, I think you need those voices, you need that sort of support, because that gets you in different rooms. That's how he was able to get into that room. But I think this just, again, signifies the need for reform. It signifies the need for the understanding, for the funds to be put in, because of the court-appointed attorney who was obviously in over his head, and who also had no skin in the game.
Right.
To say that, and to now this man's been in jail. And so, like, I think the other thing I want to point to is Billy Donovan, right? So Billy Donovan was Dorian's coach. Billy Donovan knew he didn't have a relationship with his father. He urged him to have that relationship, because Dorian talked about the anger he had toward his father, how that part of that abandonment hurt him. And so he developed a relationship, and when that man goes undrafted, you know who encouraged him to continue playing ball? His dad from jail. right? That's how important that relationship between father and son is. Even though he wasn't there, even though Doran can't even remember actually touching his father, for him to say, hey man, you need to continue playing. But to do that and then to now have your dad released, man, and for the Brooklyn Nets to charter a jet, for him to be there, to be able to see his father get out of jail, I think this is one of those stories that does have an extremely tragic start, right? It does talk about the circumstances in which people come from and the positions that puts you in to make certain decisions. And then the lack of support you get in defending yourself. But now for that to come full circle and have the Dallas Mavericks and Mark Cuban be so much a part of that release, I think it's one of those stories that make you go, you know what, man, there is some good in the world.
How many more Albert Smiths are in prison?
So many.
And that's why I say, and I give a shout out, you brought up Mark Cuban. Michael Rubin does so much, Meek Mills, and we stories are out there with that. I bring up Kim Kardashian. She's getting people out of prison too.
Right.
If you're an influencer, and we messed around about a couple weeks ago, Benny, be influential. Those people are using their platforms to help people that don't look like them. And and it might be a player or somebody, Billy Donovan, I'm gonna speak on that in a second. But if you want to be an influencer, do something influential. And that's why I give a big shout out to Ruben and them people that are really trying to change the world. You got a bunch of money, people know you, you're running great businesses, but influence the world. And you tell the story about Billy Donovan, who was, Gator and all, love Billy D to death. After one of the times I got arrested at Florida, I had 5 a.m. treadmill. I had to go 1,000 floors on the treadmill, 5 a.m. every day, Ron Zook. And Billy Donovan walked in one day, walked over to me. He was like, I know the story. I respect your work. Even before this, I respect how hard you work. And I tell my ball players about, and that's Billy Donovan, 08, national championship, Joakim Noah, Corey Brewer and them boys. He was like, I respect your work. So I always respect Billy for coming up to me in a time of trouble for me and just giving me some encouraging words. But Nat Moore, the old receiver for the Dolphins, who now I think is vice president of football operations. He has a big title with the Dolphins. And me and my father weren't talking when I got drafted. And it goes right back to the divorced families. My mom was bad, my dad so bad. And I even said in my comedy show, I'm like, listen, if you are not with your baby's parent, mother or father, don't badmouth the other person because that's not doing nothing but confusing the child. So that came between me and my dad. Nat Moore came up to me after my rookie year, and there was a family barbecue. And he knew Big Randy from back when they played together. And he came up to me as a man and was like, I don't know what happened to you and your dad in the past, but you and your dad need to talk. Y'all both got drafted to the same team. They tell the story, and the end of the story should not be you and your dad not having a relationship. Mm-hmm. That should not be the end of that story. So when you said it, it just made me like almost tear up because without Nat Moore, I don't know where me and my dad, y'all know me and Randy tight now, mm-hmm. But if that didn't happen halfway through 2005 at that family barbecue, I don't know where me and Randy's relationship be right now. So just a shout out, I made you think about it, just a That's thing, awesome, man. If you, and it was on both sides, because my dad had to be open to it and I had to be open to it. So from that side, if anybody out there is not speaking to your child or you're not speaking to your parent, be a grown up, be a man, let that shit go and have that relationship, because I swear to God, me and my dad right now, that's my ace. That's my dude. Awesome, you know what I'm saying? But I don't know if that wouldn't happen without Nat Moore. So say all that to say, Nat Moore, I appreciate that, man. I really appreciate that years ago.
You make me think about CJ Stroud and his father, and he's fighting for reform in his father's case and situation. But I think Mark Cuban, you talk about Mike Rubin, Meek, Kim. It's good to have a few billionaire friends in your corner that believe in doing what's right, because they have a bigger voice sometimes. And I just want to tip my hat off to those people for even considering that fight for these guys. Man, that's pretty dope.
And I gotta say it because RC saying it got me emotional. RC, do you ever miss?
What you mean?
Oh, we were just inside the NFL. I'm sitting in the room, got all the big dicks there. You won the Steve Sable Award. Oh. Your first damn time in the building, bruh. Emmys, Steve Sable Award, bro. What Snoop says? This motherfucker don't miss.
Do
you ever miss?
I do a lot. You know what was cool about it is, y'all know, like I love ball. And I come from the place in ball where it's given me everything I've ever had. Like truly, I've never had a job that didn't have to do with football. Even when I got cut from the league, LSU gave me a job because I played football there. And to win the award, I mean, he's the fabric in which the NFL is viewed. Mm-hmm. He's the storyteller, he's the architect, and to know what he meant to the NFL and that the way that we now see it is viewed through the prism that he saw it, the camera that he held on the sideline, the editing that he did, the stories he decided were important to tell. And you know, when Pat gave me the award, he just said it was about the dedication and about the work and about the effort. And y'all know, man, like that's all that matters to me. Success is such a subjective thing that I can't control. And I used to try to control it, but when you get cut or when they tell you enough that you ain't got it, you start to realize if I start letting those people be my success, then that barometer of life will ebb and flow with the way people feel about me. So I think it's just really cool, man. I was really honored. Like, you know, it's our first year in the building. And shoot, you've been there. It ain't start great. You know what I mean? There was probably some people that are like, oh Lord, we gotta hear this mother effer talk again. But it's starting to work out, man. And so like that was a big honor for me.
That was pretty dope. Listen, I got a question for you guys. They tend to say fish don't outgrow their environment.
Yes.
Like you put a fish
them in a small aquarium.
Right. But I have trivia. There's one fish that outgrew their bowl in the 90s.
Is this like the fish that, what's the basketball movie? The fish that, I don't know. I don't gotta tell me.
Fish that one boss. The fish called Wanda.
There's a fish that outgrew its bowl in the 90s. Just think. This is more like sports related. It wasn't a real fish. All right, the Dallas Cowboys, which makes them an easy target, which also brings forth the conversation Michael Parsons and what he said. I fought Jerry Jones and how that team kind of just outgrew itself in the 90s, won a ton of championships, and now anything they do, they're the mockery of everything. No matter what they do, they're an easy target. Micah, his comments. Former players, analysts, they want us to fail. Every week they're looking for us to fail.
It's an absolute farce.
I was going to ask.
That's an absolute farce. The Dallas Cowboys are the most talked about team because they're the most popular team. When the Dallas Cowboys are great, everyone speaks highly of them, maybe outside of Stephen A. And for him, it's just a stick, right? It's his thing. Jerry Jones loves Stephen A. Stephen A. loves Jerry Jones. He loves the Dallas Cowboys. If without the Dallas Cowboys, First Take would not be a watchable show during the football season. Nobody wants them to lose. It's just that when they do lose, you got to talk about it too.
That fish is out of the bowl.
Yeah, and I think the saying is when you're wrong about someone or when someone does something good, right, let the applause be as loud as the boos. On the opposite side of that, you can't love the applause because if you love the applause, then you'll fall with the boos, right? If you allow the claps, right? If you allow the positive to boost you up, then inversely, you're gonna allow the negative to bring you down. And what happens with the Dallas Cowboys is it's so great. I'm feeling good. Everybody loves me. You know, let's go to the press conference after the game. And when we talk about ourselves, let's have this air of arrogance like we've made it and we've done it. Because when you're a Dallas Cowboy, even when you haven't necessarily actually made it or actually done it, we treat you like you do. And so you start to feel really good about that. And then when something bad happens and people are just telling you the truth, you feel like it's an attack. But why? Because if somebody just keeps telling you, I love you, you're great, and then you show us that you're not, and we tell you,
you grab the pearls.
Right.
I'm not the best? You mean the fact that we sell the most jerseys doesn't mean we're gonna win every game? How dare you? And so I think that it's that feeling of being so visible all the time, and because you can't run from it. You can't run from the good. They say they don't listen. You're lying. And then when you feel the other side of it, it's just difficult to take.
It's different. They're called America's team.
And they are.
They're America's team.
They are.
The only country with flat out established billionaire football teams, and it's the team of football. And it's there. So when you have that on your back, and think about who's the owner of the San Diego Chargers?
I actually don't know. And you don't even know if they're in Los Angeles now.
See, look at that. Didn't even know they moved states. I mean,
It's the same
didn't even know they moved cities. And I don't know the owner. I don't know the GM of the Chargers. I don't know.
He got fired, so let's go.
See, like you'll know some of that because Ryan follows shit, but a normal fan don't know that.
That's true.
You know everybody on the Dallas Cowboys, even if he's not a Cowboys fan. And Jerry Jones, he don't help his players. The ones that are Micah that's talking about, they want us to fail. Jerry Jones is gonna tell you we're the best. He's gonna act like we're the best. He's gonna talk trash. He's gonna do his radio show. He falls into it. To RC's point, they play into it. If you want to play into being big boy and you get whooped, everybody's gonna talk about it. What's the final scene in Friday was what? Craig whooped Debo's ass. Dallas is Debo. And if somebody whoops him, we're gonna celebrate it. Or to RC's point, you're gonna speak on it rationally, and that's what happened. Dallas plays into it. They're the highest value team in the league.
Highest value sports team in the country.
In the country. Yeah. So now, if you get your ass whooped, somebody's gonna speak about it because of the fact that you put the target on your back. So that big ass fish in that little bowl in the 90s, put a target on his back that now people are staring at. Right. And why would you stare at?
Right. So what the players have to learn, right, is not to let the opinions of others become their reality, no matter what side they're on. When they're telling you you're great, thank you, keep it pushing. When they say you suck, that's your opinion, I gotta keep it pushing. And I think that when you look at the back-to-back weeks, they blew out Philly. They were like, all right, they finally played somebody. And they did a damn good job, they blew them out. But Philly's reeling. Like, they lost 3 in a row. And then Dallas goes and lose in blowout fashion. Are they as great as everybody was saying they were after that victory against Philly? So now reality is starting to kind of come back to those guys. What's the big question? Is this a good team, or are they going to be the Dallas of old?
This is the prove it week. You got the Miami Dolphins. These are two teams who you can say have struggled against good football teams. The Dallas Cowboys have played very well after losing. They're on the road in Miami. They haven't played well in road games. Miami hasn't beaten a quote-unquote good team. This is the Prove It Bowl. The team that loses this game will be talked about on Monday as if they've never won a game.
Yep.
That is without a doubt. And I think that that's the beauty of what we did, though.
Love it.
Like, every week mattered so much. We don't have 82 of them. You don't have 162 of them. You got 17, and we had 16. And I think the hardest part I had to learn in the NFL was to learn to wear a loss the right way, right? Because it had to affect you, because without it affecting you, you didn't approach it appropriately to learn from it. But it also couldn't kill you because everybody loses.
Yep.
What happens in Dallas is this is higher than everybody's this. And this is lower than everybody's this. Being, and y'all can tell me if y'all disagree or do agree, being a Dallas Cowboy is like being in love, right? It's like you can have all these relationships in life. Right? Like you can have this boyfriend, this girlfriend, you could have this friend, this and that. But when you're in love, you watch a movie, and that movie's so much better because of the person you sharing it with and the way that y'all talk about it, right? But let that mother effer be mad at you, right? Or say something to you that you know might not even be true, but you think that they actually feel it, that junk cuts. That's what the Dallas Cowboys are like. It is such an emotional roller coaster with them because everything matters about them more than it matters about every other team. And we actually didn't make it so. They did. They did. You
From
did.
From the 90s.
You did. Oh.
I just downloaded DraftKings Sportsbook app. My phone hot. And you know what it is. It's the holiday season. I'm trying to get that extra money. Anybody that signs up right now, any new customer, you place a $5 bet, you get $150 in bonus bets, but only if you use the promo code PIVOT.
My phone hot too, baby, because you know what I got? I got the same game parlays. Give me something, baby. Same game parlays. More money for multiple bets in the same game.
But you can't get in the game unless you download the app. Just download the app and go get to it. That's all I got to say.
Download the app. Promo code PIVOT, $5 bet, $150 in bonus bets.
We're talking about relationships. Chance Comanche, he was with the G League, Stockton Kings. They kidnapped and killed Morena Roberts. He and his wife, his girlfriend, her name's Sakari Hartman. This woman had been missing since December 7th. Like the last time anybody said they saw her, she was supposed to be going hang with friends. So the girlfriend actually called Chance to talk about the dispute, to say they had beef. And to say this after they tried to hire a hitman. That fails, so they set her up. They're both escorts, right? Sakari and Morena got arrested, so they're both escorts. They set her up to what Chance said was gonna be kinky sex, and they were gonna tie her up. And he choked her with an HDMI card, and then the girlfriend with her hands. What sort of twisted, evil human do you have to be to premeditate that over a disagreement? And as a man, how weak do you have to be to allow that phone call make you do that to another human who hasn't done you anything, who is not presenting you any harm? And then to just go on with your life? Like, we have gotten to a point which is so scary, to where it seems that human life doesn't matter anymore. It seems that we now believe in this generation, you get to come back from death, and you don't. Like those people, like her family, the people that were looking for whoever it is that may love her, will never see her again. And like, they have to read this too. Yeah. Like, they have to know the hopes are that the way God works is that, like, in these moments, he takes your soul before your body. Because I can't imagine any human being treated that way, having to live their last moments that way, and process what's happening to them from people that they know. You know, I don't know what is even the question off of this, but when you hear something like that, like, what are your feelings about the entire situation, but also that young lady and what she had to go through? The story physically of getting choked out and all, like, that's getting strangulated. And the other thing is too, Channing, I don't think people understand, it's not the movies, right? Like in the
movies.
Huh?
The guy on the police report, and they went back and they uncovered a lot of texts and a lot of different things from both of their phones. In their communications, the ex-girlfriend and Chance, they said, we'll do just like in the movies. I'll sit behind her with a thick rope. I just need a thick rope, because the ex-girl asks, did you get a gun? He's like, no, I don't need a gun. I'll just sit behind her like in the movies with a thick rope and strangle that.
Like, the point is, though, it doesn't happen quick like that.
No.
Right? Like in the movies and things like that, like, this is a very quick, dramatic, theatric thing. You know, like, we're talking about actual humans. We're talking about people who breathe, people who love, people who hurt, people who cry, you know? And I think that, like, it's sad to me, and that, like, this is just a young brown woman who, for whatever her faults were, didn't deserve that, you know?
Yeah, it's just, man, it's misguided people. Like, and you put, toxicity around yourself. Like, one of those two people, being the man, when she came and said, yeah, this girl disrespected me, something about a watch, you're reading the story, I was upset with her in some form or fashion. As a man, you should say, it's not that serious. Whatever that watch was, whatever this disagreement is, it's not that serious. But to your point, RC, and I don't even know if it's this time, because you go way back to, what's some crazy motherfuckers that were eating people, Dahmers and all that. Like, I think there are flawed, messed up people out there.
Yeah.
And I think this time, the point that a lot of people don't think about, and I speak to a lot of when I talk to kids about, they don't look deeper, like you just laid it out. They don't look that this young lady has a mother, has brothers, has aunts, has uncles, has grandparents, has cousins, has people that really care about her. What is this gonna do? How many people is this affecting bigger picture? I think that might be new age with this quick microwave society and the technology stuff. I think that might be where people don't really think about that this human came from a lineage of people that love her. But I just think, man, there's some messed up people out there. And for his dumb ass to get with her dumb ass and think this is a good idea.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man.
Bro.
Come on. That's why I
Too
think.
stupid on the efforts for sure.
Okay, yes. We're trying to help nobody, tending nobody's feelings with these two raggedy bastards.
Yeah.
But just two toxic people getting together that's gonna play and joke. And Freddie showed me the shit. They were sending emojis to the technology side, like coughing emojis and things. Like, where is your mind at as a human being where you think somebody's life is that easy to send an emoji about taking it?
Something like allegedly the young lady was a sex worker.
Escort, yeah.
The escort, and his job was to lure her to them, and then he was gonna do the hit based off of the direction of his ex-girl. And then the text messages that the police uncovered, she was like, did you do it yet? Did you cross her path yet? They had gun emojis with the ghost in the coffin. So they go through this elaborate plan as they thought it would be, only to bury her under some rocks on the side of the road, in which the police uncovered quickly. But they plotted it for a few days because he had to go from Cali to Vegas, play a game in Vegas, and then it happened. So that was on like the 5th or 6th. The young lady went missing on the 7th, and they finally, they found her, he confessed to it. And just fucking idiots, man. It's all bad, bro.
I almost hope there was drugs involved or something, because I don't want to think that two human beings could do this in their mind.
They mentioned getting her drunk, out of her mind, and then going through with the plot.
Yeah, but the thing
I'm
is,
talking about with them, like how?
yeah, but
like how
I
can
think you planning it that long, like you ain't on drugs that much.
Exactly.
Like you playing basketball games, and I just think that shows like
inhumanity.
it is. No, it truly is. It truly is inhumane. I sent y'all the pictures of Jaden's graduation and like the start of the speech, and I sent you guys more of it. So Jaden's speech, she graduated, she got her master's. She was the commencement speaker for the graduating class. So they have like a undergrad, graduating class, and then the commencement speaker, and her speech was about pivoting, and she spoke about graduating, not having a job, not really having any direction, and that she said her parents told her to pivot. Actually, Yanka told her that she needed to pivot. And this was before, we got together. And I was listening to her, and I cried the entire time. And I was listening to her, man, and I learned, right? And what I learned was, it was like, I didn't want her to go. I wanted to help her. I wanted Jaden to be with us, because I felt like then I could help her sort of control what was happening. But everybody's pivot is their own. And I had to learn that. And I thought because I loved her so much that helping her and being a part of it and making some of those decisions was loving her. But really, it was controlling her. And control is the exact opposite of love. And I was listening to her talk and say what she learned and say how much she's grown being there. And that was hard for me because you want to be a part of everything. But sitting and listening to her, I was proud of her. Like, I remember not arguing with her when she made the decision and letting her go. But I also remember the feelings I've had of like, why couldn't you talk to me? Why didn't we discuss it? Why didn't you, let me help you. And it got me back to like Jordan picking the school. I always wanted him to be able to say every decision that he made was his decision. So whether it worked out, whether it didn't, I did it because it was right for me. And she did what was right for her. And what it taught me was sometimes in order to love something the right way, you gotta let it, him, or her learn to love themselves the right way first. Mm-hmm. Because until they become everything that they're supposed to be, you're not truly getting all of them to love anyway. And so, man, I think that like the dope part about having kids very young is like I got to grow up with my kids. That was also like the hard part, right? Because like I was still learning like to be me. Like I had Jaden at 19, Fred had babies. I had Jordan at 21, Logan at 24. So as I'm learning to become like this fully formed human, I'm trying to raise people to become fully formed humans. And I learned so much from them, man. And like that was watching her give that speech, because I had so many feelings of so many things, of certain people being there that I didn't think deserved to be, people who I felt deserved to be not being there. And like for that 10 minutes or 12 minutes, nobody else was in that church but me and her. Mm-hmm. And I know she didn't write it to talk to me, but she did. And like at the end of it, it made me feel like the parts I could control got her there to be able to make that decision. Mm-hmm. And in making that decision and stepping away or leaving into a place I couldn't control, what I did to get her there made her want to bring me back. Mm. And so, you know, I think pivot for us has taken, like every time we hear it, obviously it matters now. And we don't know, like, it's probably a word people have used my entire life, but now every time I hear it, I equate it to what we are and what we've done. And that was the first time I heard somebody use it, and it affected me more than anything we've ever done here.
It's definitely been floating around forever. I know on the energy drink, the saying is it's never too late to pivot. Like if you're having a down day, what have you. But I saw something the other day online where Oprah was speaking. Mm-hmm. She was speaking about parenting. And she said parents have to learn to be irrelevant. Mm. Not in a bad way, but to remove yourself from your kids, like make yourself smaller so your kids can be bigger, and push and encourage and allow their confidence to build and grow, yet nurture them, but let them do it how they want to do it, you know? And so it's not a bad thing, but a lot of people—
spoken like somebody that's never had a kid, though.
I see two parts of it.
I'm not saying that she's wrong. I think it's a very hard thing when you realize how much you can love a little effort that can't do nothing for you.
Correct. What I got from it was allow your kid to become the Kobe, the Mike, the LeBron, and you could be a role player. You know, re-encourage them.
They all need a spanking.
Yeah, I mean, that's not, come
they
on.
All need
we know that
Kobe
part.
got his ass whooped. His daddy was military.
Yeah. But I'm telling you from where I saw it.
Do you think it's phases though? Or do you think I think it's phases of that, right? Like I don't believe she's wrong, but Chaz can't go be Kobe right now. Lil Chan can't. And that's what I'm saying though. Like I think it phases, but the thing is, it's like anything else. You don't know when they're strong enough to hold that rope themselves, right? And so it's like their whole life, as they were learning to be Kobe, or they were learning to be LeBron, or learning to be Michael Jordan, or whatever it was, as they were getting there, you had to hold that rope with them, right? And so it's like when we're holding that rope together, you have to gauge, okay, how much am I still pulling, right? Because at first, they don't have it at all.
They don't.
You know what I'm saying? You know how you doing stuff with the kids, and you like, oh, let's pick up the truck, Chaz, and Chaz straining, and Chaz, and you just picking up the whole truck. And then as they get older, they picking up a piece with you. And as they get older than that, they're picking up more of it. And eventually, they can pick the truck up themselves, but you have to build up to get there. And I think sometimes it gets to the point where we're so used to holding that up ourselves that you do need your kid to say, nah, Pop, I got it.
Correct.
Gotcha. And I would add on to it, because y'all kids are older than mine. I'm learning it. We know how to walk in and read a room. We know how to walk in and read situations, playing ball and all. You got to know your kids. Everybody's different. You got to deal with first kid different, the second kid different, the third kid. And I think a lot of people, and I'm getting away from it now, where this the way I'm parenting. No, I know Chan needs a different, I can get on Ava different than I can get on Chan.
Right.
I can get on Chaz, the babies, they just like babies, you got to just keep them in line. But when they start getting 12 and 10 now, there's a different approach that's going to get the best out of each of them. And I think that's one thing with parenting is that you know how to read people, you know how to read adults. You got to read your children too and know, I don't know if it's them damn astrology signs or whatever, but every person you work with in the world, you approach them different. You understand them. You can't teach your kids this is one way I'm gonna deal with my kids. You have to read your kids well and know your children. So that's what I was saying. I'm learning it right now. I'm getting better and better every day at knowing my kids and knowing what's gonna best maximize them to not push them in a direction, but just correct them every now and again as they start walking off that line. Just tap them and keep them on that line that you know where success is gonna come from.
Yeah, man. Well, this may be our last show together. We'll have a show next Tuesday that we release, but this is definitely the last show of the holidays. Maybe the last time we all sit together before we will be coming up on 2 years as a show. It happens fast. We have all, for the most part, changed in some way. Some good, some not as good. I think the holidays are always a time, man, that you get to reflect. And more than anything, y'all boys, y'all enjoy that, man. And
didn't we
spend that time?
Didn't we shoot our first episode like on the 21st of 2021 in Jersey? Wasn't it the 21st?
I don't know, man. I'd be drunk.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was. I remember getting out of the car that day being like, what the is about to happen? Like I had no clue. And I still say it to this day. We were sorry. We
wasn't that bad, man.
Chan, you were great. You were always you.
Chan
Fred, you was always you. As a collective, if we didn't have Alicia Zubakowski, the people would have gave up on the pivot a long.
They would have took that word out the damn dictionary. No, they done fucked up the whole word.
Hey, happy holidays, y'all, man, from our family, this one, to our bigger families, to our families at home, to yours. Thank y'all so much for the support. Our prayer is this, though, that in this time, we know everybody can't have everything. We know that there are people who are struggling with something. We just pray you have an ounce of sunshine, a glimmer of happiness, and somebody to hug you and hold you and tell you that it's gonna be okay, because it will. Y'all be good.
Yes, sir.
This motherfucker don't miss.
Hold up, limitless. Take a stomach, got pinning it. I fought the head to witness it. Get my people feeling militant. Way I'm feeling, got me up. On the mission, got me up. Knowing me, I got the key. Only vision I can trust. Limitless. Take a stomach, got pinning it. I fought the head to witness it. Get my people feeling militant.